To install an outdoor on or off light switch for a pool light, there are several crucial aspects to consider, primarily focusing on safety and voltage compatibility. Firstly, voltage compatibility is paramount. The switch being installed must be rated for the voltage of the circuit it controls. In this specific case, there is 115 volts running from the circuit panel to the transformer. Therefore, a switch rated for 115 volts is essential to handle the electrical load safely and effectively. Secondly, the location of the switch within the circuit is also important for safety. It is recommended to install the switch on the 115 volt side of the circuit, positioned between the circuit panel and the transformer. Installing it in the high voltage side ensures the switch controls the main power supply to the transformer, reducing the risk of electrical hazards associated with the lower voltage circuit. Thirdly, when wiring the switch, always follow the manufacturer's instructions precisely. Begin by turning off the power at the circuit panel to prevent any electrical shocks or accidents. A general overview of the wiring process involves connecting the black wire from the circuit panel to the line terminal on the switch. The white wire from the circuit panel should be connected to the neutral terminal on the switch. The red wire, which typically leads to the transformer, needs to be connected to the load terminal on the switch. It's important to ensure all connections are secure and properly insulated to avoid any short circuits or loose connections. After wiring the switch, testing it is a crucial step to verify its functionality. Turn the power back on at the circuit panel and test the switch to ensure it is working correctly. If the light does not turn on or off as expected, double-check the wiring connections and consult the manufacturer's instructions for troubleshooting. In addition to these steps, there are several additional tips to enhance safety and longevity. Firstly, using a weatherproof switch and enclosure is essential for outdoor applications. These components are designed to withstand exposure to moisture, rain, and other environmental elements, preventing corrosion and electrical failures. Secondly, install the switch in an easily accessible location. This allows for convenient operation and maintenance, making it easier to turn the light on or off as needed and to perform any necessary repairs or replacements. Finally, if there is any discomfort or lack of experience working with electricity, it is highly recommended to hire a qualified electrician to install the switch. Electricians have the expertise and tools to perform the installation safely and in compliance with local electrical codes. Before commencing any electrical work, it is crucial to understand basic electrical principles and safety precautions. Voltage is the electrical potential difference or pressure that drives the flow of electrons through a circuit measured in volts. Amperage, or current, is the rate of flow of electric charge measured in amps. Resistance, measured in ohms, opposes the flow of current. The relationship between voltage, current, and resistance is described by Ohm's law, which states that voltage equals current multiplied by resistance, expressed as volts equals amps times ohms. When working with electrical circuits, always turn off the power at the circuit breaker or fuse box to prevent electric shock. Use insulated tools to handle wires and connections, and never work in wet or damp conditions. Electrical codes and regulations, such as the National Electrical Code or NEC, provide guidelines for safe electrical installations. These codes specify requirements for wiring methods, overcurrent protection, grounding, and other safety measures. It is essential to adhere to these codes to ensure electrical installations are safe and compliant. Grounding is a critical safety measure that provides a path for fault current to flow back to the source, tripping the circuit breaker or fuse and preventing electrical shock. Grounding systems typically consist of a grounding electrode, such as a ground rod or ground plate, connected to the electrical panel and metallic components of the electrical system. Overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers and fuses, are designed to protect electrical circuits from excessive current flow, which can cause overheating and fires. Circuit breakers are resettable devices that trip when the current exceeds a predetermined level, while fuses are one-time devices that melt and break the circuit when the current is too high. When selecting wiring for electrical installations, it is essential to choose the correct wire size and type for the application. Wire size is determined by the ampacity or current carrying capacity of the wire, which is based on the wire's material, insulation, and installation conditions. The NEC provides tables, such as Table 310.15b16, that specify the ampacity of different wire types and sizes. The type of wire insulation is also important and should be selected based on the environmental conditions and the type of installation. Common wire insulation types include THHN, THWN, and OFF. When making electrical connections, use appropriate connectors and ensure they are properly tightened to provide a secure and reliable connection. Loose or corroded connections can cause overheating and electrical failures. Always follow the manufacturer's instructions for installing connectors and making connections. In addition to these basic principles, there are several other important considerations for electrical safety. Firstly, never overload electrical circuits by plugging too many devices into a single outlet or circuit. Overloading can cause the circuit breaker to trip or, in severe cases, lead to a fire. Secondly, regularly inspect electrical cords and appliances for damage, such as frayed wires or cracked insulation. Damaged cords and appliances can pose a serious electrical hazard. Thirdly, use ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, in areas where there is a risk of exposure to water, such as bathrooms, kitchens, and outdoor locations. GFCIs are designed to detect ground faults and quickly interrupt the circuit, preventing electrical shock. If any electrical problems arise, such as flickering lights, sparking outlets, or a burning smell, immediately turn off the power to the affected circuit and call a qualified electrician. Do not attempt to repair electrical problems unless trained and qualified to do so. Electrical work can be dangerous and should only be performed by those with the necessary knowledge and skills. When working with low voltage circuits, such as the 12-volt circuit in this case, the same safety precautions should be followed as with high voltage circuits. Although the voltage is lower, there is still a risk of electrical shock, especially in wet or damp conditions. Use appropriate tools and equipment for working with low voltage circuits, and always follow the manufacturer's instructions. In addition to safety, efficiency is also an important consideration when designing and installing electrical systems. Use energy-efficient lighting and appliances to reduce energy consumption and lower electricity bills. Consider using timers or sensors to control lighting and appliances, turning them off when they are not needed. In conclusion, installing an outdoor on or off light switch for a pool light requires careful attention to safety, voltage compatibility, and wiring procedures. By following these guidelines and taking appropriate precautions, it is possible to perform the installation safely and effectively. If there is any uncertainty or lack of experience, it is always best to consult a qualified electrician to ensure the work is done correctly and in compliance with local electrical codes. Always remember that electrical safety is paramount, and any potential risks should be addressed with caution and expertise. Understanding the basics of electricity, following safety precautions, and using appropriate tools and equipment are essential for working with electrical circuits. And when in doubt, always seek the help of a qualified electrician.